Hello, everybody. A very good evening to everyone. And you are listening to me, Satyam Jain, and understand UPSC. And this is the first session of the Essay Alchemy Program. This is going to be a flagship program of Understand UPSC because here we will cover the entire 250 marks worth of paper of essay from basic to foundation. This is the first session. This is the first class to build your foundation. So the assignment etc. were given on the group. If you do not know about it, the link of the group is given in the description of this particular video. You can go there and join the group and start following the sessions and the assignments. Alright, so I'll directly jump on to the assignment that was given to you. I want all of you to read this particular article with me now. It might take 10 minutes or so, but 10 or 15 minutes, but read it with me. I'll tell you how to read articles and how to read a particular assignment when I give it to you, and how to relate it to various topics that I give to you. For example, I gave 3 topics. This was the first one: prisons can imprison people, not principles. The second was there are better practices to best practices, and the third, on the spot, the OTS, was not all who wander are lost. Let us look at them one by one. Before that, I would read this article with you, so read it with me, and whatever I tell you, keep writing that in your alchemist notebook. Okay, chaliye, let's start. Okay. Her cell in the women's ward of Tehran's Evin prison has a window that opens to a view of the Elbrus Mountains, the mountain range that stretches from the border of the Azerbaijan and merges into the heights of the Khorasan, has acted as a natural barrier and protector of Tehran for centuries. From the window, she could see the wildflowers on the hills and the snow-clad peaks of the mountains. I sit in front of the window every day, stare at the greenery and dream of a free Iran, Nargis Mohammadi said in an interview in June this year. Look at the beauty with which the writer has written this particular paragraph, describing how from a window sitting in the prison of Tehran, the Evin prison, a lady, Nargis Mohammadi, looks outside at a mountain range, at various natural features that are protecting Tehran from centuries. The flowers that are blossoming there, the mountains that are present there, the hills that are present there, talks about the natural beauty of Iran, and then goes on to compare. I sit in front of the window every day, stare at the greenery and dream of a free Iran. I stare at the greenery, I stare at the nature, I stare at the natural ecosystem, and then I dream of a free Iran. Whenever you get to see such a beautiful write-up, whenever you get to see such a beautiful introduction, write it as it is in your notebook, as it is in your notebook. आगे सेशंस में मैं आपको समझाऊंगा. I'll teach you how to convert every particular introduction, every particular such beautiful phrases, such beautiful paragraphs into a complete introduction for any topic whatsoever. ठीक है? So this is very beautifully presented. हमारे लिए ऐसा लिखना मुश्किल है because we are not trained for that, but these writers are trained for that. So pick it as it is, write it, keep it with you. Okay, now comes the talk about what is Evin, the prison. Evin, built by Shah and opened in 1972, is one of the most notorious prisons in Iran, which is estimated to be holding 1/4 of the country's political prisoners. With its torture and solitary confinement cells, Evin could break even the toughest and most resolute minds. In the words of Kian Tazbaksh, an Iranian-American scholar who himself was a prisoner, Evin is Iran's Bastille. ठीक है? So this particular thing is completely related to your first topic. Prisons can imprison people, and we have seen in this particular paragraph how the prison of Evin, which is very harsh, very notorious, has imprisoned 1/4 of the country's political prisoners of Iran. So this goes directly in line with your first topic, that prisons can imprison people. टॉक अबाउट इट, राइट इट एज इट इज़, या इसको मॉडिफाई करके अपनी वर्ड्स में लिखिए कि किस तरीके से एक प्रिजन है ईरान में जिसने 1/4 ऑफ द कंट्रीज पॉलिटिकल प्रिजनर्स को तोड़ के रख दिया है बाई इट्स हार्शनेस. इट हैज़ इम्प्रिजन्ड hundreds and thousands of political prisoners, hundreds and thousands of people, including Miss Nargis Mohammadi. Now, lengthy prison terms took a toll on Miss Mohammadi's mental and physical health, but her resolve to continue the fight for what she believes, क्या है उनके principles, instead intact. When Iran erupted into street protests last after the death of Mahsa Amini, a 22-year-old Kurdish woman, allegedly at the hands of country's morality police, who arrested her for violating the mandatory hijab rules. Miss Mohammadi's life and struggles came into focus again. She organized protests inside the walls of the prison. ये देखिए, she organized protests inside the walls of the prison. है ना, prison can't imprison principles, prison can't imprison ideas, prison can't imprison the values of a person. इंसान को बांध सकते हो आप, उसकी सोच को, उसको ख्यालात के नहीं, क्योंकि आप प्रिजन के अंदर अंदर बैठे बैठे मिस नरगिस मोहम्मदी वॉज ऑर्गेनाइजिंग प्रोटेस्ट्स. शी कॉन्टिन्यूड टू स्पीक थ्रू अवर इंस्टाग्राम पेज एंड रिटर्न इंटरव्यूज इन द डिफेंस ऑफ विमेंस राइट्स. विमेंस राइट्स, ये क्या हो गया, अगला प्रिंसिपल दैट वो शी वॉज टॉकिंग अबाउट. एंड फाइनली ऑन October 6, द नॉर्वेजियन नोबेल कमिटी रिकॉग्नाइज हर रिलेंटलेस स्ट्रगल बाय अवॉर्डिंग हर द 2023 नोबेल प्राइज. बात समझ में आई आपको? इस पर्टिकुलर पैराग्राफ में जो मैंने ये ऑरेंज से मार्क किया, आपको पूरा पूरा दिखेगा. प्रिंसिपल्स थे, यहाँ ग्रीन में क्या दिखा कि प्रिजन ने किस तरीके से इंसान को इम्प्रिजन कर लिया. यहाँ क्या दिखा कि किस तरीके से उसके प्रिंसिपल्स को नहीं कर पाया. कौन से प्रिंसिपल्स? ये वाले प्रिंसिपल्स. क्यों नहीं कर पाया? क्योंकि अंदर से प्रोटेस्ट जारी था. और फाइनली हमें कैसे पता चलता है कि नहीं कर पाया प्रिजन? हाउ डू वी कम टू द कंक्लूजन, हाउ डू वी कम टू नो दैट द प्रिजन वॉज नॉट एबल टू इम्प्रिजन हर प्रिंसिपल्स? बाय दिस कंक्लूजन दैट शी वॉन द नोबेल प्राइज. अगर आपने इम्प्रिजन कर लिया होता उस आइडिया को, उन प्रिंसिपल्स को, तो मिस मोहम्मदी को नहीं मिलते, राइट? शी नहीं मिलता नोबेल प्राइज. बट शी गॉट इट बिकॉज ऑफ हर continuous relentless pursuit for women's right in Iran. Okay, now there is something about her life. Let's just see it. Born in 1972 in Zanjan, some 270 km northwest of Tehran, Nargis Mohammadi grew up in Shah's Iran that was gripped by revolutionary fervor. The 1979 revolution, which overthrew the Shah's monarchy and turned Iran into an Islamic republic, was a watershed moment in the country's history. The Shah's regime was highly oppressive and resentful, run by his notorious security police, Savak and oligarchs, but had tolerated limited social liberties, especially for women. While it's popularly called the Islamic Revolution, the anti-Shah popular movement was not just Islamic. Iranians from different political sections, including nationalists, liberal, leftists, and trade unionists, had actively joined the movement, seeking freedom from the Shah's royal dictatorship. Now, when the Shah fled the country in January 1979, Ayatollah Khomeini was in Paris. He landed in Tehran's Mehrabad airport, which was controlled by the revolutionaries. On February 1, 1979, Khomeini ushered in a new system that would have an elected president and parliament, while other clerics would remain firmly in control. While the revolutionary regime, which promised economic justice and a new spiritual path forward, amassed support in the countryside, the liberal and left-wing sections of Iranian society were agitated by the turn their country was taking. The new regime lost no time in cracking down on dissent. Among those arrested were an activist uncle and two cousins of Miss Mohammadi. Now, बहुत लोगों को ये वाला आपको लिखने में आसानी हुई क्योंकि आपको डायरेक्टली दिख रहा था दैट देयर इज़ अ प्रिजन नोन एज द एवन प्रिजन ऑफ ईरान दैट इज़ एबल टू इम्प्रिजन पीपल, है ना, पॉलिटिकल प्रिजनर्स, मिस मोहम्मदी, but they are not able to imprison principles. They are only able to imprison people, not principles, because principles of women right, principles of equality, principles of independence, freedom, liberty led Miss Mohammadi to winning of the Nobel Prize and being a worldwide hero. तो ये लिखने में आपको इशू नहीं आया. This introduction was clear to you. Most of the people have written it on the direct lines, but now this one was one such introduction that a lot of you had issue writing. There are better practices to best practices. अब मैं आपको यहाँ सिखाता हूँ कि एल्केमी क्या होती है. अब मैं आपको सिखाता हूँ कि कैसे आप एक सिंपल आर्टिकल को एक कंप्लीट एनेक्डोट में बदल सकते हो, एक कंप्लीट इंट्रोडक्शन में बदल सकते हो. दिस इज़ वॉट इज़ एल्केमी इज़ ऑल अबाउट. नाउ लुक एट दिस पर्टिकुलर पैराग्राफ दैट आई हैव जस्ट हाईलाइटेड इन ब्लू एंड ऑरेंज. यहाँ पे सबसे पहले क्या बोला गया, वॉट वॉज सेड एट द अर्लीस्ट दैट 1979 रिवॉल्यूशन में शाह की मोनार्की को ओवरथ्रू करके ईरान को एक इस्लामिक रिपब्लिक में बदला गया. ठीक है, शाह की मोनार्की में क्या इशू था? इट वॉज हाईली ओप्रेसिव, इट वॉज रिजेंटफुल, इट वॉज रन बाय नोटोरियस सिक्योरिटी पुलिस. करेक्ट, दीज वर द इशूज इन शाह's मोनार्की. तो ये एक प्रैक्टिस है. अब ये माना गया कि ये प्रैक्टिस अच्छी नहीं है, सो देयर इज अनदर प्रैक्टिस जो कि रिवॉल्यूशन के थ्रू लाई गई. देयर वॉज इस्लामिक रिवॉल्यूशन, देयर वॉज द इरानियन रिवॉल्यूशन दैट टुक प्लेस. After that, you had the best practice that was considered at that particular point of time. What was the best practice? The best practice was freedom from Shah's royal dictatorship. The best practice was converting Iran into an Islamic republic. Correct? समझ में आ गया best practice? But it was only a best practice till you didn't know about a better practice, जो आपको यहाँ से समझ में आएगा. While the ये देखिए, यहाँ पे देखिए best practice कैसे. Khomeini ushered in a new system that would have an elected president and parliament while the clerics would remain firmly in control. तो यहाँ से आपको क्या समझ में आ रहा है इस पर्टिकुलर चीज़ से, यहाँ से लेके यहाँ तक कि हाँ ये एक बेस्ट प्रैक्टिस मानी गई. क्यों? क्योंकि पिछली प्रैक्टिस में क्लरिक्स बहुत ज़्यादा कंट्रोल में थे. अब यहाँ पे उसको चेंज किया गया, एक इलेक्टेड प्रेसिडेंट आया, एक पार्लियामेंट आया, क्लरिक्स को कंट्रोल में रखा गया. तो ये क्या बन गई? ये बेस्ट प्रैक्टिस बन गई ईरान के लिए. बट दिस बेस्ट प्रैक्टिस वॉज नॉट अ बेस्ट प्रैक्टिस. वाई सो? रीड इट अगेन. यहाँ पे आपको उसका आंसर मिल जाएगा. रीड दिस. While the revolutionary regime, which promised economic justice and a new spiritual path forward, a mass support in the countryside, the liberal and the left-wing sections of Iranian society were agitated by the turn their country was taking. Which turn? क्या turn आ गया अब? This is your introduction. The new regime lost no time in cracking down on dissent among those arrested for an activist, an uncle, etc. etc. तो यहाँ से आपको पता चला कि ये जो नई रिजीम है इसने डिसेंट को कर्ब किया, इसने विमेन राइट को कर्ब किया, इसने कैपिटल पनिशमेंट को इंक्रीज कर दिया. करेक्ट? इसने पॉलिटिकल प्रिजनर्स को जेल्स में रखा. तो यहां पे आपको समझ में आया कि एट अ पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम what was considered best practice, that we will have an elected president, we will have a parliament, we will have clerics under control, but all of that, a governance system, correct, converting your state from a theocratic state to maybe a democracy, to maybe a republic, this was considered a best practice. But then you realize that best practice is not just about having a governance structure. The best practice is about having human dignity, about human life. And as soon as you realize this, you understood, Iran understood, Nargis Mohammadi understood, and we need to understand that as soon as you realize this, you got to know that no, this was not the best practice. There is a better practice to this so-called best practice. आई बात समझ में? This is how you need to read your articles that will be given to you in the assignments. This is how you need to think over the ideas. This is how you need to imagine. This is how you need to brainstorm. Then some more things about Ms. Mohammadi is given here. After finishing high school in Zanjan, she joined the Imam Khomeini University in Kazan for a major in applied physics. There she co-founded an organization called the Shaklol, whatever the name is, Eliminating Students Group, ye yaad rakhiye aap, and started taking up women's issues and campaigned against death penalty. It was in the university she met her husband and married him. ठीक है? Not that relevant in this particular case. After college she started writing for a women's magazine, Payam-e-Hazar. It was published by somebody, daughter of this, cleric, supporter of left wing, ye wo. Nothing, not so important. As a journalist, Ms. Mohammadi wrote about women's issues and reformist causes. After her husband, Mr. Rahmani, was arrested in 2001 for a political gathering, she became more involved in rights campaign and civil society movements. A year later, she joined the Center for Defenders of Human Rights that was co-founded by Shirin Ebadi, the renowned human rights campaigner who won the 2003 Nobel Prize. चलिए अब वापस से आइए. अब इस सारे को देखिए वापस से. ठीक है, पढ़ लिया आपने, समझ में आ गया. अब देखिए आपका थर्ड ऐसे क्या था. Not all who wander are lost. What was Miss Mohammadi wandering for? She was wandering for civil society movements, for rights campaign. Right? She was wandering for women issues, for reformist causes, for a campaign against death penalty, for taking up women issues. And why is she not lost? Because she wants to usher in a new era of equality. She wants to usher in a new era of principles, of a better practice. And how will this all be accomplished? कैसे पता चला आपको that she was wandering but she was not lost? Because she was wandering for a cause. Because her wander has been stamped upon by the Nobel Prize. And that is how we come to know that not everybody who wander are lost. Because some people, like Miss Mohammadi, wander the streets of Iran, wander various international conferences, raising up the issues of women, of death penalty, of reforms, of rights, of civil societies, to usher in a new era of governance in the Iranian society, in the Iranian nation. Thus, not all those who wander are lost. Some are looking for principles, some are looking for reforms, some are looking for a major goal in life. Now, let us look at something very interesting here. A year later, she joined the Center for Defenders of Human Rights. It was co-founded by Shirin Ebadi, the renowned human rights campaigner who won the 2003 Nobel Prize. यहाँ से आपका अगला आपको एनेक्डोट मिल जाएगा. सपोज करो आपका इस तरह का एनेक्डोट आ जाता है, लीडर्स ब्रीड लीडर्स, गुड फॉलोवर्स मेक गुड लीडर्स. कोई भी ऐसा लीडरशिप के ऊपर आ जाता है, कोई भी ऐसा फॉलोइंग के ऊपर आ जाता है. This is a perfect answer to write. This is a perfect introduction to write. That it was under the leadership of Shirin Ebadi that another campaigner, that another human rights activist, that another Nobel Peace Prize winner, Nargis Mohammadi, was trained. It was under her patronage, it was under her scolage that Nargis Mohammadi learned and grew to be a hero of human rights activism in Iran and worldwide. ऐसे करके छोटी छोटी चीज़ें आपको हमेशा निकाल के रखनी है. जस्ट सिंपल. इन सिंपल को कैसे एक 120 वर्ड्स के पूरे एनेक्डोट में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं, आपको मैं लाइव लिख के दिखाऊंगा अगले सेशन में. आज मैं आपको दिखा रहा हूँ कि किस तरीके से आर्टिकल पढ़ते टाइम आपको सोचना है. मिस मोहम्मदी वुड सून बिकम द हेड ऑफ द सेंटर्स कमिटी ऑन विमेन. मिस इबादीज फॉरेन कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में उनको रिप्रेजेंट करने लगे. ये सब चीज़ें याद रखो. शी वॉज ऑल्सो वन ऑफ द फाउंडिंग मेंबर्स ऑफ द नेशनल काउंसिल फॉर पीस विच वॉज एस्टेब्लिश्ड इन 2007. अमिड ये वो नथिंग मच. हर क्विक राइज एज अ human rights activist earned her the wrath of regime which has always looked at liberal campaigners with suspicion. In 2009, the authorities confiscated her passport, potentially banning her from traveling abroad. In 2010, she was arrested for her works for the Center for the Defenders of Human Rights. According to Mr. Rahmani, Ms. Mohammadi has since then been arrested 13 times, sentenced to a total of 31 years and 154 lashes. ये याद रखो, ये ऐसी चीज़ें लिख के रख लो. Arrested 13 times, underwent a total of 31 years in prisons and 154 lashes. It is only the physical body of Miss Mohammadi that they tried and break. Never her principles, never her absolute resolution. The prison, अब वापस से पहले एनेक्डोट को कनेक्ट कर दो. The prison that arrested Miss Mohammadi 13 times, that sentenced her to prison of 31 years and 154 lashes and atrocities infinite in number, was only able to imprison a person, her body, never her spirit, never her principles, because principles penetrate and fly outside the walls of prison. ये बोल रहा हूँ चीज़, इनको लिखो, ये आपके ऐसे में एज इट इज़ काम आएंगी. ओके चले. In 2011, she was convicted of acting against national security and spreading propaganda against the state. According to PEN America, Ms. Mohammadi suffers from a neurological disorder that can result in seizures, temporary partial paralysis, and pulmonary embolism, a blood clot in her lung. In 2014, she was reduced to ill health, but outside jail, she withdrew the world's attention to the conditions of Evin prison, written in her book White Torture in 2022. Again, ये इसको वापस से पहले वाले एनेक्डोट के रेफरेंस में डाल सकते हो कि the prison, the most atrocious prison, the prison with the highest number of atrocities, as said by Miss Mohammadi in her book White Torture, where she was sentenced for 31 years, where she was sentenced 13 times, where she was lashed 154 times, couldn't break the absolute spirit and resolution, the principles and morality of Miss Mohammadi. ऐसे करके लिखो. Bring it, give it an emotional feeling, है ना. टच होना चाहिए एग्जामिनर को, लगना चाहिए कि एक एक जज्बे वाला एस्पायरेंट लिख रहा है. Based on interviews with 12 female inmates, gives extensive details about prisons, etc., etc. She was released a few times but immediately rearrested. But jail did not break her. Her commitment and resolution earned her several international awards. She is the recipient of both the Alexander Langer Award, the Per Anger Prize, the 2022 Reporters Without Borders Prize for courage of for her human right work. She also won 2013 में कोई प्राइज जीता, and now the Nobel Prize also reached her. The Iranian regime, इन्होंने इसको बोला है कि ये politically motivated है, etc. etc. That is not important. The Nobel Peace Prize has hardly been free of controversies. The committee has been accused many a time of awarding the prize to critics of regimes that are seen as, ये थोड़ा अलग डायरेक्शन में है, we don't need to study it. यहाँ से बस आप ये लाइन देख सकते हो. Irrespective of the politics of the Nobel Prize, Nargis Mohammadi is here to stay as a fearless voice of freedoms in the theocratic Islamic Republic of Iran. इसको as it is याद करके रखो, इसको as it is लिख के रखो. The voice of Nargis Mohammadi, the wonder of Nargis Mohammadi, ऐसे कन्वर्ट करते हैं, ऐसे स्टेटमेंट्स को कन्वर्ट किया जाता है, ऐसे स्टेटमेंट्स को कन्वर्ट किया जाता है अपने हिस्से में. द वॉन्डर ऑफ मिस नरगिस मोहम्मदी इज़ हेयर टू स्टे बिकॉज हर फियरलेस वॉन्डर फॉर फ्रीडम विल कॉन्टिन्यू टू रोम द स्ट्रीट्स ऑफ द थियोक्रेटिक इस्लामिक रिपब्लिक ऑफ ईरान. मिली लाइन, मिली परफेक्ट लाइन, ऐसे कन्वर्ट किया जाता है. इस तरीके से आप कन्वर्ट करते हैं सिंपल वर्ड्स, सिंपल लाइन्स को गोल्डन एनेक्डोट्स में, गोल्डन लाइंस में, गोल्डन फ्रेजेस में, जो आपको डायरेक्टली मार्क्स दिलाएंगी. आई होप दिस इज़ क्लियर. आई होप आपको ये चीज़ समझ में आई कि किस तरीके से आपको लाइंस पढ़नी है, किस तरीके से आप इनको कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं. करेक्ट, देखो समझे ना, ये एक सिंपल सी लाइन थी, इसको कैसे कन्वर्ट किया मैंने. नरगिस मोहम्मदी, द वॉन्डर ऑफ नरगिस मोहम्मदी इज़ हेयर टू स्टे एज अ फियरलेस मूवमेंट of freedom in the theocratic Islamic Republic of Iran. Connected back, connected to your topic. The wonder, the relentless wonder of Nargis Mohammadi is here to stay as a fearless movement roaming around, wandering around the streets of theocratic Islamic Republic of Iran for the cause of freedom of women, for the cause of women rights, because not all who wander are lost. Some are fighting for a cause. इस तरीके से करके write your anecdotes, write good phrases, convert ideas into anecdotes, convert ideas into stories, bring in the emotional angle, write good phrases. This is how you will develop over a period of time to write various introductions, to write various anecdotes. I hope कि ये वाली चीज़ आपको क्लियर हुई है. I hope that you will be able to write more and more introductions now. ऐसे करके असाइनमेंट करते जाइए. प्लीज़ स्प्रेड द वर्ड अबाउट दिस इनिशिएटिव. देयर इज़ अ लॉट ऑफ मिसगाइडेंस गोइंग ऑन इन द मार्केट रिगार्डिंग द essay paper. Let's break that down. Let's bring it to what actually matters, what actually means, what actually is important. Alright? Please share it if you liked it. Let us know if you were able to relate to this particular video, this particular introduction, these particular topics, how you felt after writing it, how you felt after listening to my explanation. Many of you have written really well and others will start writing really well. Do not lose hope and do not lose on the consistency that you have gained. Alright? Please take care. Have a very good day. Wait for the assignment number 2 on the group. If you have not joined it, check it in the description. And please spread the word about this particular initiative. Let us break the era of paid misguidance. Let us usher in a new era of correct guidance, of actual guidance. Alright? Please take care. Till we meet next time. This is Satyam Jain signing off for now. Jai Hind, Vande Matram.